What is up, everyone? JD here. Hope you're all doing well today. Today I thought we would just enjoy the weather. The wife and I just spent all day working on the deck, getting everything tidied up. In the wintertime when the snow hits and we got to make a path for the dogs and things of that nature, you end up shoveling and just scraping away at the deck over. So give you a quick look. Hopefully you guys can see that. Everything looking fresh and updated. Oh, I forgot I'm using the spare tripod here. So it is a little flimsy, but I wanted to talk about Reeves knives, and they recently announced that they were going to go ahead and update their pricing on their knives. So I think a lot of people have kind of hit on this already, so I know I'm not the first and I probably won't be the last. For me, I think the price bump is in line from everything that I'm hearing and seeing. You're seeing it from Kaiser, you're seeing it from Civivi, you're seeing it from Benchmade, Spyderco, all the knife makers out there, man. They're really just bumping up the price because inflation, right? It's costing more for them to get the materials. It's costing more for them to hire the employees. So, it's kind of par for the course. But I think what people are kind of bent out of shape about is the fact that it's not the $50 price bump, right? Because that's kind of reasonable when you take into consideration what you're getting. So you used to be able to get them starting at $375, I think it was. And when you look at, let's say, a Chavez Redención Street made by Riot, those are coming in, $335, $350, somewhere in there. And this is a USA made knife. You were getting it for about, $50 to $65 more than you were from an import manufacturer, which are cheaper. They're cheaper. Same materials, titanium. You're getting a premium steel, well-made knife, extremely well-made, good attention to detail. From Chris Reeve, you're getting a killer warranty and you're getting a killer support with the knife as well. So the $50 really doesn't bother me that much, because now you're talking $425 to get an Umanzon or a Sabenza or even the Nkosi, and you're still getting premium materials with a killer warranty. They can't eat the costs and remain profitable and be able to continue to grow and manufacture knives and charge a lesser price during a really bad inflation. And it's not just them. Take a look at, you're looking at the Drop Bear. The Drop Bear recently came out. This is 154 cm aluminum on stainless steel. Now, you could have gotten the original, which was $80, I want to say, for 154 cm and aluminum handles. So there's definitely inflation happening. And I recognize that you're talking about a knife that has a different lock mechanism. You're talking about the fact that this has parts or extra hardware that comes with it. So there is some difference with this, but it went, from a knife that's about the same size, the original, with a push button lock that was $80 to $110 for that. And you're looking at most Wii's these days, which used to be, $200 for a Wii, and now you're talking $250 on the regular. Civivi, those used to be $50, $60 knives. Now you're talking $70 to $80 on the regular, even a couple now over $100. So inflation's affecting everybody. Where I think people are starting to get bent out of shape is the fact that they're on a waiting list and they were told 12 months. Let's say they were told 12 months. They're now 14, 16 months and they still don't have the knife, and they're being told that they're going to have to pay the extra $50. So my approach or thought on this, I guess I'll say, is the fact that it is more money, but you haven't put any money down on this knife, right? You have signed to get on a wait list to buy them when they're available, right? It's just saying that I would like to buy this, put me in line. But just like when you get in line for Black Friday for something, at least back in the day before you shopped online, right? You would get in line and it was limited supply. There would be 100 available. You would hope that you were one of the people in the line for that item, and others in front of you in line for something else, but you really had no commitment and no guarantee. So the way I look at it is Chris Reeves is transparent with the fact that if there's an increase in cost for the supplies that they use to make the knives, there could be a cost increase in the cost of the knife. And just because you've put a placeholder to buy one when they become available doesn't guarantee you that price. Now, if they were taking money, if they were saying, like a lot of pre-orders, you're paying for the full knife, you lock in at that price. And then when the knife comes, regardless if it costs more during production, you got it at that price, whereas people that might have waited for it to get here and to buy the extra may have to pay a little bit more. So that's kind of how, and I apologize, my sprinklers are running. That's how I look at it. But it's really just across the board, right? There's a lot of knives that are going, a lot of makes of knives that are going up, and that's because inflation's up. Does that feel good? No, hell no, man. It sucks. It sucks because you were used to paying a certain tier price for a knife from a manufacturer with those materials, and now those materials have gone up in price, and it's more expensive for the end user and the consumer. And meanwhile, most of our salaries aren't going up like inflation's causing the cost of these materials to go up, man. It's just hard. And for me, I feel like they approached it right. They have people that have gotten in line to commit to buy when it becomes available, and I don't see it as them being dishonest or trying to do anything bad for their clientele, for their customers, for us, the consumers. They give you that option to get on a wait list to get the exact one that you want when it becomes available, whether it's the drop point, whether it's the Tonto, whatever it is. That's all they're really doing. And they're doing that because it is harder to get them from the retailer, because some folks can't just sit around all day waiting for an alert or a knife to come in and try to grab it, competing with others. So they do this as a bonus for you, but us, we haven't put any money into it. So what are you going to do? You really can't complain, in my mind. And again, it's $50. I think that's very reasonable, considering you're talking about the fact that Wees and Civivis, which are foreign knives, are up $50, and that's a domestic knife at $50. To me, that's not a big deal. That's not a deal breaker, especially if you really wanted the knife. I think a lot of people are bent out of shape because they're like, I've been waiting 12 months. I asked to get this knife when it was this price. Now it's taking you longer than what you quoted originally, but you didn't give any money. And it's just getting in line to buy the product. There's no lock-in, there's no guarantee, and they're pretty clear and transparent about that. And again, it's $50. So $50, I don't mean to make it sound like $50 is not a lot of money. I'm saying for what you're getting in return in comparison to other manufacturers. Again, I'm going to poke at Riot, because Riots are $300 to $400 knives regularly. Best Tech, $300 knives regularly. I feel like those are all imports, and they are always going to be cheaper. And for a while, you were only paying $75 for a domestic, high quality, high product from Chris Reeves. So that's really my standpoint and where I'm coming from on that. And I'm really not too mad about that. The other thing I wanted to talk about real quick, and I forgot to pull it out, is I did recently see where these case knives that are advertised as made in the USA have import parts on them. So I've actually reached out to them to get clarification. I assume that it is the blade, the aluminum that you're getting that is domestic, and then fat carbon is not domestic. So I feel like they're trying to be transparent with that. And I'm assuming maybe the hardware, maybe the stuff in the pivot, and maybe even the bearings, they have to probably import those because maybe they don't make all that. But I've reached out to Case to ask them for clarification. The other thing that I saw recently is this a River's Edge cutlery? I'm not 100% sure. This exclusive, I want to say, is River's Edge with the magnet cut. And someone had reached out, and I think it's on their website now, asking for the heat treat on this. And the heat treat quote was 63 to 64. So I'm thinking about reaching out to Transparent Knives Brian to see if he'd be interested in actually giving this a poke and seeing what it actually is. I would like to see what it is myself. If it's really 63 to 64 on their first run, that's pretty impressive. I would be extremely happy with that at $150 to have a USA magnet cut knife. It is not the best variant that is out there as far as what you're getting. It's a good frame lock. It has good action. It has a really late disengagement on it. But and I'm probably going to flip this around. Just give me a second, because I'm distracting myself when I'm looking at the knife coming back to the camera. So give me 1 second. I am going to flip this around. All right, this is a little bit better for me so that I can actually focus on the knife a little bit now while I'm talking to you. Hopefully you can still hear pretty good. But 63 and a half, 64 and a half. Wait, no, it was 63 and a half to 64. That's pretty damn good. And if it's the magnet cut is USA, but if they're grinding and everything in-house, they're making the scale themselves, and they're just importing the fat carbon and the hardware, that's really not that bad. And that does maybe help them keep the cost of this down to being, like I said, around $150, which is really good value. You're getting a very well done and very nicely coated. Now I did, where is it? I have nicked this in a couple of places here on the knife myself. But I hit it against like gravel. But $150, I think that's pretty reasonable. And the only thing I would like to see them change is they actually advertise on the website that it's made in the USA. I would like to see the same transparency that you see on the box on the knife. I'd like to see that made in the USA with some parts imported, maybe, or something to that degree. I don't think they're trying to be dishonest. But I know they're not making the fat carbon, right? They got to bring that in. So at the very least, worst case scenario, maybe it's because of the fat carbon. I'm thinking probably they do bring in the hardware, maybe, or maybe the bearings themselves. Maybe they can't make that themselves, so there is some imported parts. I would say just put that on the website so that you have some transparency there. Other than that, though, that would be impressive. So I'm going to reach out to him. Those are my only real complaints, really. It's just the really late disengagement. The action is super smooth. And the really big screws on the pocket clip, I would like to see those a little bit more of a flat head. And it's actually thick enough. You might be able to instant that. But I say that with the understanding that it could be a cost increase. And at this point, I think a lot of us are kind of apprehensive about asking for more things from manufacturers, because we're already hearing people gripe and moan and complain about a $50 price hike on a Chris Reeves knife that was pretty, I would say it was a really good deal before. Now I would say that you're getting a good deal, right? You're going from a really good deal to a good deal. You're still paying less than you probably would for a custom with similar parts. Sound off down in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Maybe you have a different approach or a different angle on what it is that you think that's going on with Chris Reeves knives. But again, I'm saying that you're seeing that from all the manufacturers all together. Thanks for having patience with me today while I decided to just be outside and kind of enjoy it. I wanted a little bit of a change of scenery. Since it's nice out here, the weather's really, really nice. I didn't feel like smoking up and sweltering in the garage today. I apologize for any of the noises in the background from the sprinklers too. I forgot that we're going to be running. We just had the yard aerated and seeded, so they got to run twice a day. If you enjoyed today's video, do me a favor, leave a like. Consider subscribing if you're not already subscribed. Hit that notification bell if you don't have that already set to all so you don't miss any future alerts. Thanks to everyone out there that is already subscribed. I appreciate all the support. I hope all of you have a fantastic week, and until next time, peace.